have started probably at about the age of 12 in O'Connell Street. As I said before, my mother said, go up to the friary and serve mass and then go up and help your father for an hour. That meant I was free on the Saturday afternoons. So I suppose little did I know what I was leading myself into. So I spent 2 years in the Christian Brothers, killing time, basically, because I knew I was coming up to the shoe repair. I was 17 the summer of 1980, the 21st of June. I think I had a couple of days off and then I went straight into the workshop. And here we are 43 years later. And still people don't want to let me go. Now that I look back from the age that I am, I can see my abilities that could have been used in other areas. Lads would come in on work experience, and I love the tutoring side of it. So that's an angle that could have been done if things were slightly different. But no, I suppose it was like a vocation or a calling. From start to finish, I was going to be fixing shoes. And for the majority of time, it worked out pretty well. Just in the last few years, it kind of waned due to the evolution of the leather shoe coming into the plastic shoe. And then COVID didn't help the situation. It wiped out certain fashion elements that were my backbone. In 1955, my father John would have been working with P.T. Kelly from Dundalk originally in a shoe repair shop down near where Zest is now, on that row. And he wanted to set up his own place. And Jimmy Nealon from Clockley said, John, there's a room going up at the Foresters Club, O'Connell Street. I'd advise you take it. So he did. And then he wanted to open a business and he wanted to get married. So my grandmother, Nora Doyle, told my mother, Breatha, let him open his business for a year first. And if it takes off, then you can go up the aisle. So John opened in 1956. The angle with the shop was to create a living for himself and his family, to provide a service to the community, the town and county. And then it was like, there was two angles. You were saving yourself money by getting your old shoes repaired. And we didn't realise it then, you were keeping things out of landfill. Breatha came up to the shop because my father was letting the books slide a bit and things needed to be brought up to date. John, you see, had traded in an era when there was no tax, and then things started to change. He actually went to confession about it, and the priest called it a penal imposition, but you still had to pay up. So Breatha came up. She had been running the bed and breakfast for 15 years in Gort Road. That had wound down. And up she came on her bicycle up over the bridge. And Breatha was a lovely person to deal with. People found her very kind, but there was a line you wouldn't cross, otherwise you'd get the other version. So then she'd be the buffer zone between the customer and the two of us down the back. My parents had a major attachment with the friary and the friars. So the priest that married them in 1957, Father Ewan Deany, so he dropped into the shop on a very cold November day, and he sits down beside the open fire, and John just gives me the nod, which meant get the keys to the club and bring back in a large whiskey to the frozen fryer. So he warmed himself at the fire, internally and externally, stood up and gave us a blessing and headed back to the friary. And everyone was happy out. You know, different times. Father Hillary, Father Michael Hillary, a lovely man from Milltown originally, or the Milltown Hillarys, and he used to come in, he'd be smoking his pipe, and he'd have his red setter dog Judy with him. It was just all, so, and he jokingly said one day, anyone for confession? And there was an elderly gent, yes, Father, and there was the sacrament of confession was had between the two, the middle door and the back door. RTE arrived one day, Derek Davis, and Derek was going, John Murphy, John. I said, yes, I'm Middle John. So he asked, could he speak to the older John Murphy? But you didn't. I went down the back and I said, John, Derek Davis from RTE is up there. He wants to know, can he have a word? John didn't come up. Derek Davis had to come down and speak to him in his spot. I thought it was great. You know, let them come to me. Saturday evening mess came in that would cover you for your Sunday mess, and Dunn stores opened up. So you could lend into town at 4:30, drop your shoes in, go do the shopping, collect the shoes at 5:50, get mass at 6:30, out the road, done and dusted. But it had all the pull at that stage. We had the draw into town. There was no Lidl's, Aldi's, Super Values. Everything was here. Dance halls, cinemas, whatever you want. But now Saturday has become a gymnasium, charity walks. I obviously liked fixing shoes. And if you have the time and the proper type of shoe and the proper material, it's not just work, it's an art. And to see the finished product that you're happy with and the customer is extremely happy with gives you immense satisfaction. But now it's Nike and Essex, and their toes coming out through the top of it, and it just, I don't know, it's like pulling the perfect pint of Guinness and then a fella comes in for a bottle of lemonade. I'd like to thank the people of Clare and the wider regions that have been valuable and loyal customers since my father opened in 1956, all the way through to 2023. The shop could only have survived with the customers and the characters, and it kind of worked both ways. We got good work from them, and we did hard work to keep it up and running. I'm extremely grateful for all the work we got. Basic thing, it gave us a living, which means then you can be housed and fed. And I'm just grateful that it was a very valued business in people's eyes. You can kind of finish up then and be happy that you did your best for both your family and the community, and move on from there for see what's around the corner. Last week, when we wound it down, the outpouring of goodwill from the town and county was overwhelming. Boom. But it was a testimony to the way we ran the shop, and it was testimony to my parents and the way we ran the business. I stated before that it was a hell of a lot more than a shop, and as people dropping in, there was people, and up to recently still, I could be on their Saturday morning list. Just, hey Johnny, how are things? And off they'd go. And now they come to a closed gate. And I think we had great memories in great times. The shop seems to be an association with people's past at a good time in their lives. And that's what seemed to be the association. The bond between customer, shop, townspeople, country people. We had time for each other, and that's what's very important. You go into a convenience store now, it's next, give me your card and get out the door. The hands are weary, they're sore, they're burning from adhesives. You know, time for a rest for them.